Okay, hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Emily, and on this channel we talk about all things bookish, sometimes college life, sometimes some vacation vlogs. Today I'm going to be showing you guys all the books that I read in January. I know this video is going to go up a little bit later. It's going to go up, I think, the second week of February. Not the vibe, but you know what? I don't care because I haven't done one of these videos in a while, so I hope that you guys enjoy. In January, I read 9 books, which is pretty crazy for me, at least. I know people that read like 15 books in a month. That's not me. I usually read about 4 to 5 books in a month, but December and January are always the months that I read the most, so I kind of went off, not gonna lie. I also want to mention that a lot of the books that I read in January I don't have physically with me because I left them at my house. I am back at college, so I left all of those books back over there. But the first book that I read this month was not The Final Gambit. I'm actually halfway through this book, but the Hawthorne Legacy. This is the 3rd book in the series, and the Hawthorne Legacy is the 2nd book in the Inheritance Games series. The Inheritance Games is a series about a girl named Avery, and she actually gets a billionaire's almost entire inheritance, but she never met this man before in her life, and so she has to kind of play puzzles and games to figure out why she got this inheritance in the first place. There's a little bit of a romance between 2 of the grandsons, and the 2nd book basically kind of more focuses on the 2nd game that will kind of uncover a family secret that's been going on. I'm trying not to spoil it too much. It also more so focuses on the romance in the book, and I'm gonna be honest, I gave the first book a 5 stars and I gave the Hawthorne Legacy a 4 stars. The romance in the series, I feel like Jennifer Lynn Barnes could have done it so well, so much better than she has been doing it. There's a love triangle in this book, and I don't mind love triangles actually, but I just didn't feel the romance between the main guy that I think that we're supposed to be liking. I actually like the guy that we are not supposed to be liking. And now in the final book, I just don't care for it. I'm getting jealous for Avery, but not in a good way. Okay, not that we're talking about this one. The 2nd book, I don't get it. I don't understand. Like at the end of the 2nd book, she kind of does pick one of them. I didn't care. I really did not. I also preferred the games and puzzles in the 1st book than the 2nd book. There was definitely some iconic lines at the end, especially revolving one person, older person. If you read it, I loved his lines at the end. Overall, this whole entire series is a 4 to 5 star series. I love Avery. I love all the characters. You get so connected to them, and so I definitely think it's something that you should read. Next up is another book that I don't have with me. It is My Roommate is a Vampire, and this book is very fluffy. It definitely doesn't take itself seriously. I saw this book around Halloween time, and I was like, you know what? I need it. I need it because it sounds so good. It's about a girl that moves in with a vampire, but she doesn't know it yet. And they're always in the flat in their apartment at different times. And so they leave each other super cute and romantic notes. And the notes were definitely my favorite part of this book. But I'm going to be honest, the fluffy, oh my gosh, I have hair in my mouth. Okay, I got it. The fluffy aspect is definitely there. Kind of feels like this was just something that this author had in her mind and just wanted to put it down on paper, but it's not anybody's favorite book of the year. Honestly, it didn't really have a plot. I think the romance was I don't know. I don't know what the plot was. I think it's fun. If you're in a reading slump, probably could pick it up. After I've read it, I probably wouldn't have picked it up again. I did give it 3 stars. It's a fun time, super fast to read. Again, why I kind of recommend it if you're in a reading slump. But again, it didn't really do anything crazy. It wasn't anything original, and it was a fine time. Next up, I read King of Pride by Anna Huang. Anna Huang is the author of the Twisted series, which I love the Twisted series. And so I was like, I need to read this series, the King of Sin series. And I read the first one, King of Wrath, and I loved it. I gave it a 5 to 5 stars. That follows Vivian, and I love Vivian. And this one follows Isabella and Kai. Isabella is the best friend of Vivian in the first book, and Kai is the sort of best friend of the male love interest in King of Wrath. King of Pride it was just a different vibe. They're both billionaire romances, but he's trying to go up for CEO of his parents' company. He just has a lot of expectations to uphold. Isabella's the complete opposite. She's a bartender. She's trying to write a book. I feel like the series really tried to focus on being in your late 30s, and I think it's late 30s, but being in your late 30s and feeling like you've really done nothing with your life while everybody else has so many accomplishments. And then on Kai's side, again, living up to all these expectations and trying to find what you love in life. I definitely enjoyed this book. I gave it a 4 stars. The banter was unlike anything else that I've ever read, but I do prefer the first book in the series, King of Wrath. Again, I think they give off different vibes. So I can't really compare them. Just the first book had something that the 2nd book doesn't. but I'm so excited to read the third book because that one's like a second chance romance. They're married, they used to be in love, that they're not now, and like kind of getting back to where they used to be. Now that is something that I'm so excited about. I cannot wait to get that book. Overall, 4-star book. Definitely try out the King of Sin series. I think if you like the Twisted series, you'll definitely love this one. Going on to my first 5-star of this month, Checkmate by Ali Hazelwood. I was a little scared to go into Checkmate because Ali Hazelwood, if you don't know me, is my favorite adult romance author of all time. I'm obsessed with her. We just get each other. She knows what I want. The STEM romances, I love them. But I always hate adult romance authors going into YA. Talia Hibbert did it, which was the author of the Brown Sister series, and I hated her YA. I really did not like it. And I just didn't want to not like anything that Ali Hazelwood wrote. You know what I mean? I want to just love all of her works. But I heard Haley Pham rave about it, so I was like, you know what? We're gonna give it a try. I also really enjoy chess. Like, I've played it before. I lose every single time, and I don't really know any type of strategy. But I thought I would enjoy it, and I definitely did. It's about a girl that doesn't really like to play. She loves chess, but it ruined her family in some type of way that you find out. And her friend kind of begs her to play in a match with her, and she wins against the world champion. And he's never lost against anybody before, so he's just like, whoa, who is this girl? The one main thing that I do want to mention that other people don't like about this book is that they don't really interact fully until about 1/3 of the book. And it's mostly because it's a lot of setup. It's a lot of explaining the main character's backstory. It's a lot of her kind of training so that it can kind of set up for them to actually meet, which some people don't like, but I absolutely adore it. I love the backstory. I love the setup. I love learning about our main character. The main character is super quirky, and you learn a lot about the family dynamic, her friends dynamic, and I just feel like it was just good. I loved it. And then when they actually start like talking and like having a romance and it's forming, it is just so good. Also, I know it's YA and it does have those vibes, but she's 18 and he's 20 or 21, I believe. So I feel like it's more of like new adult, but it definitely has the YA vibes. It's a closed door romance, and everything about this book was so amazing. I did give it a 5 out of 5 stars. The only one thing that I wish this book had was at the end, it was a bit abrupt. The ending wasn't rushed, but it cut off right when they got together. And I'm a person that once they get together, I need at least one more chapter that I can see how they're doing. You know what I mean? And they did have an epilogue, but it wasn't in their point of view. And I did actually really love the epilogue and how that was written, but I needed an extra epilogue. I just needed one more because I just wanted to see them just one more time. I just wanted to see how they were doing. So I love this book, 5 out of 5 stars. Please read it. Please read anything by Ali Hazelwood. She's my favorite author of all time. Love her. Okay, next up, I read a thriller. I don't normally read thrillers, but I read Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. I've never read an Alice Feeney book. I know that this book is pretty popular. I know Sarah Crowley raves about this book, gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. And guess what, guys? She was right, because I also gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. This book, oh my gosh. It's basically following this wife and this husband, and their marriage is on the rocks. He has face blindness. She's not really feeling very seen. So they go away for a weekend, but it's very like somebody's keeping secrets, and I don't know. It's in different perspectives. I do know, but I can't tell you because I don't want to spoil anything. It's told in different perspectives. So you have the wife's perspective, the husband's perspective, letters from the wife that she had written like years and years ago on each anniversary, and then this other perspective of this person watching them. From the moment that I opened this book, it felt so eerie. It felt so ominous. My heart was racing the entire time from the beginning. And I've read thrillers before, but I don't often give them a 5 stars. I don't know what it is. And actually, funny enough, the only thrillers that I've given a 5 stars have been YA thrillers, which is kind of weird. I know I gave a thriller in the Boyfriend Picks My Read video. I gave a thriller a 5 stars, but whenever I think back on that book, it is more of like a 4 to a 4.25 stars. So I've never really given an adult thriller a 5 out of 5 stars. It's because this feeling, this eerie feeling, like my heart racing the entire time, I never feel that. But the twist in this book, oh my gosh. I literally my jaw was on the floor. The multiple times that I had to like throw the book across the room feeling was definitely there. Once the twist happened, I had to go back. I had to go back to the beginning, and I had to be like, oh my gosh, let me read this and this and this again. I have to see what the wife had said to him. It was just, the ending was crazy. The ending was so crazy, and I can't give you more than that. If you're thinking about reading a thriller, it has to be Rock, Paper, Scissors. And I know Alice Feeney is very popular, so I have to read more of her books. Like, I literally can't believe that I went this long without reading Alice Feeney. Okay, the last book that I don't have with me, it is Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. I've been wanting to read Steinbeck for so long. I feel like his books are fairly expensive for classic novels. Like Jane Austen is usually $9 and his is like $18. Why? Sir, why? You're dead. Who is getting paid for your books? But fortunately, my boyfriend's grandma actually gifted me this book for Christmas and I knew I wanted to read it. It is only 107 pages long, so it is such a short book. It follows George and Lenny. Lenny is this big, bulky, really strong guy, and he doesn't really know his strength in a sense. He has the mind of a child. And George is kind of uneducated. He's just trying to find work so that he and Lenny can have a place of their own. And in this book, in 107 pages, you get so attached to these characters. You fall in love with Lenny. You're just like, wow, you're mine. I don't want anything bad to ever happen to you. And you love George. George is very flawed, but you love George because he loves Lenny. And honestly, even side characters, this is very dialogue heavy, which if you know me, I love dialogue, but this book is very dialogue heavy, so even the side characters, you still feel a lot for them. And I just have never felt anything like it before. I was spoiled about a year ago about what would happen in the end or something along the lines of it, so I didn't sob like some people do, but I was genuinely tearing up. Like there were tears in my eyes. So I ended up giving it a 5 out of 5 stars. I couldn't give it any less, just on my jaw on the floor. If I wasn't told what the ending would sort of be like, I feel like it would have just hit even harder. But wow, John Steinbeck, I need to read more of his works. Going on to the books that I've read while I was here, it is a memoir, Crying in H Mart by Michelle Zauner. This book, I'm not going to talk too heavily about the next couple books that I've read because I did read them for a vlog. This book though, oh my gosh, so raw, so real, so passionate. It follows Michelle Zauner and her life and her memories right before, during, and after her mother died of cancer. And this book was insanely passionate. You can tell that she left it out all on the table. You can tell that while she was writing this, she was crying. You can feel it in your bones how much she literally gave her all into this novel. I feel like if I saw her on the street, I would just know something so intensely about her that I feel like she'd be just automatically would be my friend. I know her deepest sadness. I know her deepest regrets. I know everything about her in this most pure and extreme way. And sometimes it's a bit weird. And I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I can't tell if this was just because of this book or if it was because it's a memoir, but I couldn't really get into this book until about the 1/3 mark, which is kind of fine because once I hit it, I was in it. I was crying at the end. I just felt so attached to her. I felt even attached to her husband and to her mother. And I cared so deeply for these people that I don't even know. And I think that's such a beautiful thing to feel. So if you're looking for a memoir, I think this one is so beautiful, so perfect to read. It'll make you cry for sure. I give it a 5 stars. It's kind of weird to rate a memoir, especially one that this is literally her sadness. But I was like, you know what? I gotta rate it a 5. So definitely pick this one up. Second to last book that I read is My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Otessa Moshfegh. This book I picked up, I think 2 summers ago, and I started it. I started enjoying it, but then I put it down because it just wasn't the right time to read it. And I finally picked it back up again. This follows a girl in her 20s who is just depressed and upset with life and how it's going, and so she just wants to sleep the year away, and so she takes a bunch of pills to kind of medicate herself through a year of rest and relaxation. This book, I think the concept is very brilliant, but I'm gonna be honest, I gave it a 2 stars. I do not think I was the prime audience for this book. I had very high maybe not very high expectations, but I had decent expectations for this book. I truly did think that I would like it. Otessa Moshfegh, brilliant. I think that to come up with this and to put it out for the world to read and for people to really identify themselves with this character, I think that's awesome. But I definitely did not. I did not feel sorry for this character. I feel like this whole time, I feel like we were supposed to either identify with her or feel sorry for her. But since she, especially since, you find this out pretty early on, that her parents died, I don't care. I think that we were supposed to care and see kind of why she was in this situation in the first place, but I don't. I really don't. If she cannot care about other people's death, I don't care about hers. And the ending, I think, was supposed to be this huge twist, but immediately I kind of knew about the last third of what was going to happen, and I did not care. I don't think it was this big revelation of, oh my gosh, this is crazy. I just didn't love it. Let's be honest. It was a 2 stars. Glad other people love it, but definitely not for me. Okay, the last book that I read was The Timekeeper by Mitch Albom. This book I have had on my TBR for a bit. My middle school bully recommended this to me. I feel like back when I still lived in Miami, so I feel like that was a long time ago. This book is about a guy that was Father Time. He created the first clock, so he's banished to a cave to listen to everybody that wanted more time or wanted less time, and all of these things that have to do with time. For him to finally escape, he has to help these 2 people, this teenage girl and this older gentleman that has cancer, and help them along their way. And I do like the writing style of Mitch Albom. I think like the chapters are super short, it's very attention grabbing, and I think the concept of this novel, kind of like My Year of Rest and Relaxation, is definitely something that's supposed to stick with you, but unfortunately it didn't really stick with me. I feel like this would be so good for somebody in middle school, but I'm in college and I kind of already know everything that this book was trying to teach me. In the back it says, this will inspire you to reconsider your notion of time, how you spend it, and how precious it truly is. And I didn't get any of that. I'm gonna be honest. I understand, and I think it was cool. I did enjoy myself while I was reading it, but it wasn't anything like insanely special to me. I think it will be special to some people. Again, I just don't think I was the prime audience, but I did give this book a 3 stars. I think it's definitely worth the read, but I think it's depending on who you are as a person. So yeah, those were all the books that I read in January. I haven't done a video like this in a while, so let me know if you liked it. Let me know what books that you read in January. I want to see if we read some of the same things. Let me know if you've read any of these books. But yeah, subscribe, please comment down below, do whatever you want to do, and goodbye.